Okay, so this will be a feedback slash critique for Chaotic NPC. I don't think I've given you feedback before, so I guess we'll get that out of the way. Let's. Okay. My name is. Well, it's normally Shazam. It's my favorite superhero. But on this server, I think I go by Captain Schmuck because it's funny. There's a old reference to something that doesn't matter anymore. I am by no means a Tekken professional. I'm just someone who enjoys the game. I like Armor King. I haven't played him in forever, and just because I'm just playing Paul. And I've played a bit of Armor King, played a lot against Armor King, and in my opinion, these. I'm just simply saying, like, hey, in my opinion, here's what you could be doing to make your life easier, right? It is by no means gospel, right? Me saying, hey, if you do these things, you'll become a Tekken god. It is just something to think about, something to try and, level up your gameplay. It's something that I'm saying, hey, take this stuff into consideration, but take it with a grain of salt. Right? You don't need to treat it like gospel. It's just me saying, hey, I think this would help you improve, right? So let's talk about it. Basically, is this Meat Shield? Oh, I can't. Everybody's nicknames are different now. It is Meat Shield. That's funny. GG 4.20 AK. Talked about it. Your entire game plan is on a shaky foundation, right? You're using a lot of like power moves, kind of. You're using back 2-1-2, up forward 1+2, back 1 forward, down back 3, blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so these moves are powerful. They carry a lot of risk, and like you're saying, I'm sure they're working out right now. The problem is you're setting yourself up for long-term failure when you don't need to. Right. When you face stronger opponents, or you face your partner, as you're saying, that plays at a much higher level than you do, your shortcomings are going to they're going to be made apparent very quickly, and you're going to hit a wall, right? Here's the thing. There is not necessarily something inherently wrong with your playstyle, right? Abusing tools that you know are working because your opponents are going to let you get away with it is, in my opinion, perfectly fine, right? If I know my opponent cannot break a throw, cannot block down back 3 to save their life, cannot handle, forward 4, right? I'm going to press those buttons all day, every day, right? Me doing a cheesy strategy, that's on my opponent to be able to deal with it. That's not my problem, right? That goes for any character. Now, what's the problem here? The problem is doing something because you know your opponent will let you get away with it because they can't handle it is different than doing something because it's just ingrained into your muscle memory. And from looking at your playstyle, right, and from what you're saying, it just seems like this is ingrained into your muscle memory. So you're gonna be selling yourself short, right? AK has some cheese, right? Like he's got forward neutral 2, he's got throws, he's got all that, right? He's got some counter hit launchers here and there that are pretty good, right? But he's not Fakuram, he's not Leroy, he's not Kunimitsu, he's not any of the DLC characters. He's not Paul with a bunch of counter hit launchers. He's not Kazuya who can just cheese people with 50-50s, right? His level of what his stuff that's considered cheesy or gimmicky that will, you can cheese an opponent with will scale horribly as you face stronger opponents than, say, a Harang, a Kazuya, any character with the high risk, high reward 50-50, or a lot of string based 50-50s that are powerful, like Fakuram or Anna, etc., right? If you try to just cheese your way with Armor King, it can work for a time, but you're gonna hit a wall faster than you would with other characters like Eddie, Anna, etc., right? So, this is why people don't recommend doing all this cheesy stuff with AK, because then the cheese runs out, then they have to rely on fundamentals and focusing on conditioning, knowing when to punish and block punishment and matchup knowledge in general, and then they hit a wall, and then they quickly start to lose their momentum because AK's, hey, I'm just going to throw this out, you have to deal with it, buttons, right? That category, that style doesn't exactly have the same level of reward. Let's compare two moves, for example. Let's look at good old down back 1+2, right? This move is a knockdown on normal hit, counter hit launch, and it's +5 on block, right? What's the problem? It's 26 frames of startup. And against like most opponents, if you're not properly setting them up to respect your playstyle, like if they're just running around or if they're just challenging you a lot, right? This move is nowhere near going to be what Paul can do with Hammer of the Gods, right? Or Law with Dragon Hammer, right? Those moves offer a similar sort of style, right? Strong moves with strong effects on normal hit, counter hit launchers, or at least in Paul's case, counter hit knockdown, and very good situation on block. What's the difference? This is 26 frames, this is 20 frames, right? In a situation, and this is 20 frames, Jesus Christ. If in a situation where you're mashing each of these moves, how often do you think this move is going to work out versus this move, right? How often do you think that's going to come up? And that's the crux of the issue, is that yes, AK has these style of tools, but the number of times that these situations are going to work out in your favor is a lot less than other characters. So you have to start strategically using the tools at your disposal. The tools you have are powerful, right? I get down back 1+2 is a shit hitbox and all that other stuff, but like, dog, it's a 30 damage counter hit launcher that's plus on block. Like, it's very powerful. But if you just keep utilizing the playstyle we see here, you're never going to get that opportunity to really maximize the advantage of this move. And that's the crux of the issue, right? So why do we stress, hey, let me focus more on fundamentals, blah, 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 blah? Because once you're fundamentally aware of what you can and can't be doing, what works, what doesn't, etc., and once you know, okay, I can pump the brakes on utilizing these tools and just start out fundamentally my opponent or picking your timings and stuff like that, you're not gonna get blown up for that time when the opponent does block down back 3 and launches you, right? Like this Marduk, he blocks down back 3 and he does wall standing 1-2. Like, he has a 16 frame launcher. It's a stagger block, right? He has a launcher for that, and Marduk shits out damage in Oki like nobody's business, right? But obviously this character's not doing that. The problem, again, is just in the long run, you're going to be facing characters or opponents who are able to utilize that weakness, but the moves are so ingrained into your memory, right, that it's hard to break these habits. And that's what we're trying to stress here, of just like, avoid building these bad habits, avoid creating these situations that you're just going to be hurting yourself in the future. All right. What are some things that you want to be doing? Like, what should be your goal as AK, right? The first thing, in my opinion, is that you start throwing people, right? Yes, AK is not King, right? He doesn't have the Oki that King has. He doesn't have, like, his focus on these grabs aren't as important, right? I'm not telling you that you need to start doing instant Shining Wizard, right? What I'm saying is you need to use tools that make your opponent second guess what they can do. So let's take a look here. So like, well, that one you should be ducking. Rip. Nice break. Rip the whiff punish. But oh man. Now that I'm looking for the situation, I'm not gonna find it. Tragic. Oh, nice. This is punishable for sure. But I don't know. Rip. Oh, sick. Oh, rip. I'm kind of amazed I hit the spring kick. I don't think I'll get that opportunity. Tragic. Tragic. Okay, so basically, when let's say your opponent is at closer range than usual, right? Let's say, let me see if there's any good opportunity. Oh, well, you're not ducking these strings, so that's not going to matter. The opponent does a safe move. You can't punish them, but they're up close in your face. This is when you want to immediately throw them and make them aware of these throws, right? AK's throws should be conditioning your opponent, or even just forward, neutral 2 should be conditioning your opponent to be on the lookout of like, holy shit, I need to duck, I need to duck, I need to duck, or something, right? Or, you know, throwing out hop kick because of forward, neutral 2, at which point you just punish because back 1-2 is a really good 12 frame punisher right now, right? Stuff like that. When you don't do this, right, when you just do your usual poking and stuff like that, the opponent doesn't have to adapt. They just have to go, okay, well, this guy doesn't have much else going on. If they're not afraid of your other tools, right, they'll start a lot of your other tools, like the interweaving pieces, will become weaker as a result. If the opponent isn't afraid of ducking because you never do any throws or lows or stuff like that, your mids aren't going to be as effective, right? You're not going to get any counter hits with down 4-2 or any just hits in general. You're not going to be able to bully them with forward 3-4. You're not going to be able to do down back 1+2 and get like a nice knockdown, stuff like that. And it's that ebb and flow, right? Yes, throws aren't as important to AK as they are to King, but the reason you want to use them is because, one, they're good against turtles and get chip damage, right? And you still have mix-ups with like the chain throws and stuff like that. But they supplement your other tools. Once you start throwing your opponent, boom, your mids can start becoming online, because now it's like, oh, hey, what's the word? Oh shit, he's throwing me. I need to challenge this and start ducking, and then boom, back 4, 1+2 or whatever, you know, stunner starts working out, right? Or forward 4 starts working out, that type of stuff. And that's really the crux of what I'm trying to get at, is you need to start utilizing a lot of your stronger tools, right? Like down forward 2, really strong, down forward 1+2, good way to condition your opponent to not always be ready for the punish, stuff like that. Because if you don't start utilizing these tools now, you're just going to be building up bad habits that are harder to break later on. They don't have a gift for down 4. That's kind of insane. Anyway, I'm gonna... Right. This string is counter hit confirmable. Once you hit forward 3-4, there's a giant counter hit flash that you can counter hit confirm the last part, getting you a knockdown, letting you do wave dash mix-ups, you know, wave dash into your opponent, or dash block, and then they do like a get up kick, which you then punish. Stuff like that. All this stuff, right? Forward 4 neutral 2 is a fucking top tier low. This move is fucking stupid, right? I'll bitch about this move all day. Now, my personal philosophy and feelings on Tekken aside, the fact of the matter is AK has this move. It's not going anywhere. You need to be abusing it. +7 is a very critical frame for AK, right? The opponent, most opponents, ignoring Zafina, Elisa, that type of stuff, right? Ignoring any evasive bullshit. At the basic level, against regular opponents or even the big bodies especially, they can't backdash, they can't sidestep, they have to take your mix-up, right? If you go for a throw mix-up, they can't mash out of it, they can't sidestep it, they can't backdash out of it. They have to duck or break the throw. This creates a whole layers upon layers of mind games, right? Is he going to throw me? Do I just take the throw and go for the duck? Is he going to do another low? Do I go for the duck? Is he going to do a mid? All of that revolved around an unseeable low from wave dash if you have the good execution, or just in general, right? Very powerful, very abusable, needs to be abused, right? And then once you start abusing this, then once they start ducking out of fear of this, then your forward 3-4 starts working out really well, or down forward 2, wave dash into down forward 2 starts working out really well, or just, you know, CD4, right? Doing wall standing 4, not the actual crouch dash 4. We don't talk about that move. All of this stuff, right? Okay, you don't want to go for the -14 low because, oh no, it's -14 low. you just wave dash and then you go for a mix up with your wave dash throw, right? CD 1+4 or 2+3 is a 50-50 mix up. They have to break between 1 or 2. Yes, the chains themselves are breakable. Oh no, like yeah, you don't have unbreakable chain throws like King. That really sucks. The goal isn't to utilize this as like some full damage throw. The goal is to make your opponent scared of you wave dashing in their face, right? It's to make them scared to go, okay, he's gonna wave dash at me. I'm just gonna stand block and block crouch dash while standing 4 or whatever, right? But then they go, oh shit, he just grabbed me, and then they have to guess the break. It should be utilized as a chip method of chip damage, right? Don't expect a primary mix up here. It's just a way to get some easy chip damage going, right? And then once you get knockdowns like this, or once you what's another one? Once you start throwing them, leaving them up close, you can get free pressure with forward 4, right? All of these tools have very difficult or very little counterplay, right? If they try to punish this, you have down forward 1-2 to discourage punishment, right? Make them respect this slightly more. Is there a risk to down forward 1-2-1, right? Yes, it's a duckable mid-high, right? And if the opponent ducks and you know the next part's a low and they just hop kick, you're fucked. But that's the mind game, right? At any point, you can just press down forward 2. They duck expecting down forward 2-1, and then they're not ready in time to punish you consistently, right? Forward 3-4 is safe. Ignoring the, you don't finish the string. Ignore that part, right? But you do forward 3-4, right? You stop at forward. You do forward 3-4. They're safe. You don't do anything. If you don't counter hit confirm it, then they are expecting, you know, forward 3-4 or forward 3-4-3, and then they duck. At which point you just stop at forward 3-4, see what they do, adjust accordingly, or you stop at forward 3 and then do a throw because they're still holding back, expecting forward 3-4, right? All of these mind games, right? Forward 4 neutral 2. What is the opponent going to do against an unseeable low, right? What are they going to do? They commit to the low. They can't sidestep this, right? The forward input and the tracking on this low is still very strong, right? And if you need some extra tracking, you do like an extra wave dash before you do this low, right? They have to commit to the duck or try and outright just challenge you. And if they start challenging you, you can use that to your advantage because a wave dash is very powerful, right? At any point, you just stop the wave dash and you don't have to commit, right? The beauty of Tekken in a lot of these characters like AK, right, is that you never really have to commit to certain things where other characters do. Let's compare a character like Fang or Paul who have roll dashes, or Josie who has a crash dash motion, but she can't like chain it repeatedly, right? So these characters, they have to commit to their crouch dash style move, right? The roll dash. AK, at any point, he's just like, oh, I don't want to commit to a move, and you just hold back and you start blocking. Are there moments of vulnerability? Yes, if you chain too many wave dashes, you can get clipped or some shit like that. But the control you have over this tool versus the counterplay your opponent can enact is vastly different, right? Than, say, a Paul committing to a roll dash, a Fang committing to a roll dash, or Josie doing a crouch dash move, right? Up close, stuff like that. Cobra clutch, right? You start wave dashing and they have to guess the throw break. What's the counterplay? They're gonna duck, right? They're gonna duck, and then you just do, instead of committing to the throw, like you see them flash ducking, you just do wall standing 4, right? This has a lot of counterplay. It's kind of linear. It's very slow, right? But in situations where, let's say, like you do this throw, right? You do the throw, you stop it at this point, and then you just do forward 4. It's kind of slow, so you have to worry about get-up kicks. But if the opponent's respecting your wake-ups, or if they're very passive on wake-up, like they're not rolling, they're not pressing any buttons, you know, this move becomes very powerful, right? And then you can see people just eat forward 4 all day, every day, and then they don't know what to do, right? So, oh God, I've started ranting. You know, again, compare all of these moves to back 2-1-2, right? Especially with the way you're utilizing it, where you're hardcore committing to the final part of the string, which is always duckable. And rest in peace, Leo. This shit is not counter hit is not counter hit confirmable, right? This shit is just not counter hit confirmable. If you know the opponent's mashing and you know they're like at this level where they're mashing, yeah, sure, go buck wild. But is it the problem again goes back into you're building a bad habit that's going to get you blown up in the future, and you need to adjust that. Right. Up forward 1+2, it's very linear, right? Or the opponent who's very sharp will just jab float you out of it. And yeah, it's like, oh, they just jab floated me, the damage isn't high. But it's like, yeah, the damage isn't high, but you're giving your opponent minimum like 40 damage they wouldn't have otherwise, right? If you just don't press the button, they don't get 40 free damage. You're playing AK, right? You're not really like this comeback machine. Some people will argue like, oh yeah, the throws are a really good comeback factor and stuff like that. I guess I don't see it as like as that same level of comeback potential as like, I don't know, Kazuya with his rage drive and 50-50 mix-ups. You know, the ability to steal rounds in your favor, I think it's hampered. It's like when all you really have are like the throws and your high risk, high reward mix-ups from that, that's whatever. And your rage drive isn't really going to enable as many comeback factors as say other rage drives, right? Anyway, all this to say, it's just kind of like, hey man, here's some food for thought about what you can be doing with AK. TLDR, it's the usual. More pokes, more lows, more throws, and don't just start like, oh, I'm just going to keep pressing down 4 every day, right? Start thinking about how do I maximize the potential of my moves. If I want to use more lows, how do I maximize that potential? You start doing more mids first. Condition your opponent to step or to stand block, right? Make them expect mids so that your lows will work out. After they start expecting more lows, right? They're like, holy shit, I fucking hate forward neutral too. I don't want to deal with this. And they'll start challenging you, at which point you just block and punish, or they start ducking, at which point you start doing your mids, right? That ebb and flow is going to be different from player to player, but it's important that you build the skills of that foundation now versus later when instead of playing Tekken, you're going to be too busy trying to break the bad habits you're building now. And that's literally it. That's the main goal of my, what am I at? Oh God, I'm like 20 minutes. Of my 20-minute rambling of just kind of like, hey man, you're building bad habits, stop it. I'm trying to save you from a lot of headaches and work in the future. It's not going to be easy, right? Utilizing these tools, maximizing the usage of these, it's simple at the surface level, but really maximizing this will take time and practice, right? That's AK. Easy to pick up, hard to master. You're playing, and everybody's just like, oh, AK is so easy. Paul is so easy. Devil Jin's so easy. And it's like, okay, yeah, these characters are powerful. Sure, they have powerful options. But when you just tell somebody, oh, just poke and punish, play a fundamental game plan, that shit's hard, right? I'm not telling you it's going to be easy to do this. I'm telling you, start doing the work now so that way you don't just have headaches in the future when you're trying to break bad habits and your opponent's just punishing you and able to just smother you with their timings and stuff like that. If you have more questions, let me know, or just at people at Critique Boys and all that, right? Just ask people like, hey, here's because obviously I'm throwing a lot at you, and it can be very hard to just form a nebulous game plan around people just telling you, hey, just get better fundamentals, right? So try to set up goals for yourself. Focus on goal setting because that's a valuable skill to have, right? What is a goal that you have in mind that you want to do? And try not to make it too nebulous, just like focusing on rank up, right? Try to create small, concrete, achievable goals first, right? Let's say this Marduk is bothering you, or even let's say like the law is bothering you, and you're like, I want to be able to low parry Junkyard Dog consistently. Focus on that, right? Focus on that, and oh my God, you're telling me law is anyway. Focus on that, and then, be like, okay, I can consistently low parry Junkyard Dog. Move on to the next goal, right? It's important to set small, achievable goals for yourself because that's what gets you to the big milestones, right? If you want to rank up, I'm sure everybody does. I fucking hate ranked, but that's a different story. How do you get there? You get there by setting up these small, achievable goals for yourself so that way you can, you just keep chipping away at it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're ranking up because you focused so much on building the strong foundation that you just keep building on that and eventually see long-term gains, right? I'm sorry. You're telling me laws have a 47% like lose or have a shit matchup against Armor King? That's bull. There's no way. I don't see it, dude. I'm getting into some argument with. It's not really an argument. It's just I don't understand their point. Like these people will look at this fucking statistic and be like, "OMG, this character has a 53% win rate against this character. I can't believe they have such a winning matchup," or vice versa. Like, "OMG, Law has such a bad matchup against Armor King." I'm like, are you fucking for real, dog? You're gonna tell me that this world win rate that pulls from every skill level, like if I'm looking at a green rank Law and a green rank Armor King, and the Armor King just steamrolls the Law because they know like a combo or two, you're gonna tell me that's a shit matchup for Law because of that? Oh my god. Anyway, complete tangent aside. If you have questions, add us in the Discord at Critique Boys, right? Everybody in Armor King Discord is super helpful. They're super nice, and they really just go out of their way because they enjoy playing the character, right? They're all cool people. And try to create achievable goals for yourself and focus on like how to build up your foundation. And it's gonna be tough. It's gonna take a long time, but the long-term rewards are worth it, right? And it's Tekken, right? Legacy knowledge carries over. AK, will he be in Tekken 8? I don't know. It's likely. He's extremely popular, right? At least the foundations of, okay, learning matchup knowledge, learning punishment, learning timings, these fundamentals will carry over into the next Tekken game. Tekken really rewards legacy knowledge, right? The work you do now isn't just only going to be applicable to this game, right? It'll be applicable to previous games with some changes, right? They'll be still very much applicable, and they'll be very much applicable in like Tekken 8 because I'm sure they're going to continue with the foundation that Tekken 7 set, for better or worse, right? Anyway, yeah, man, if you have any questions, let us know. Add us in the Discord, and hope any of this helped. If it helped, I'm happy, right? And if anything didn't make sense and you're like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, let me know, right? Let me know if there's a way that I can try and make a point more clear or specify something that you're like, I don't quite get what you're saying here, all right? Hope it helped. Have a good one.